I don't think my marriage will survive. Not because of cheating, not because of one big betrayal, but because everything that used to matter quietly disappeared. I'm 36. My wife is 37. We've been married for 5 years, together for 8, and we have 2 young children. For most of our relationship, things were good, solid, stable. We built a life together. But over the last few months, something changed. We started fighting hard over things that shouldn't have mattered. Small comments, minor misunderstandings, arguments that escalated fast and left damage behind. Now, when I look at our marriage honestly, all the warning signs are there. We barely talk anymore. Not about feelings, not about dreams, not about us. Our conversations are limited to logistics, kids' schedules, bills, responsibilities. We don't say good morning. We don't say good night. We don't share a bed. There's no intimacy, no affection, no touch, no kisses, no closeness, no connection. Emotionally, we've checked out. We make plans without each other. We don't ask how the other person is doing. And even if we did, I'm not sure either of us would answer honestly. It feels like we stopped being partners and started being roommates who happen to share children. The hardest part isn't even the loneliness. It's the reality that financially, separation would be devastating. 2 kids, 2 households, double the expenses. That reality keeps us stuck. I can't tell if we're staying together for the kids or because we're afraid of what happens if we don't. I look at my wife, and I don't feel anger anymore. I feel distance. And that scares me more than fighting ever did, because anger still means you care. Apathy means you've already started letting go. Deep down, I know we're not happy, and I can see where this road leads if nothing changes. Divorce doesn't always start with paperwork. Sometimes it starts with silence. I don't know what to do. Do you fight for something that feels already broken? Do you stay for the kids and hope things magically improve? Or do you accept that staying in an empty marriage teaches them the wrong lesson about love? What I do know is this: a marriage doesn't end the day someone leaves. It ends the day both people stop reaching for each other. And right now, we both stopped reaching. If you've been here before, or if you're here now, what would you do? I don't think I'm jealous of a video game, but lately it feels like I'm competing with one and losing. My boyfriend uses almost all his free time playing League of Legends. I know he works hard. I know he's busy during the day, and I don't expect constant attention. But when the day finally ends, when we finally have a moment to connect, he chooses the game. Every time. Here's how it usually goes. He finishes work, attends his classes. We manage a short call, nothing deep, just a few minutes. Then he says okay, I'm going to play now. That's it. No suggestion to watch a show together. No, do you want to talk? No attempt to share the little free time he has. I've tried to be understanding, but it's hard not to feel pushed aside when the pattern repeats. I don't want to control his hobbies. I don't want to be the girlfriend who complains about games, but I do want to feel chosen. And right now I don't. What really gets to me is the logic. When I suggest doing something together after he finishes a game, he says, it's too late. But somehow, it's not too late to start another round. That's when it hits me. It's not about time. It's about priority. I start wondering why I'm even here if I'm always waiting. Waiting for a match to end. Waiting for him to be available. Waiting to matter. This isn't the first time I felt like this. And every time I brush it off, the resentment grows. I don't want to feel disrespected. I don't want to feel like I'm second place to a screen. So I ask myself the question I've been avoiding. Is this a phase? Or is this just who he is? Here's the truth I'm trying to accept. This isn't about the game. It's about effort, about balance, about whether someone makes space for you in their life, or expects you to fit into whatever time is left over. Liking video games doesn't make someone a bad partner, but ignoring your partner's needs does. I don't know yet if this means we break up, but I know this. I don't want a relationship where I feel like I have to compete just to be noticed. Wanting quality time isn't asking for too much. It's asking for the bare minimum. So if you were in my place, would you keep waiting? Or would you walk away before the resentment turns into something worse? I never imagined my marriage could end over something so small. Not cheating, not money, not another person, but a secret I kept because I was afraid of my own husband. I'm 32 years old, and my husband is 36. We've been together for 6 years, 4 years dating, 2 years married. This is his second marriage. When we met, he was already divorced. I'm religious, and I always dream of a church wedding. He had one with his first wife, but because he never finalized an annulment, we couldn't have one. He promised he would take care of it. He never did. I told myself love mattered more than ceremony. Still, it quietly hurt. Once we got married, the fighting started. At first, I thought it was normal, newlyweds adjusting. But the arguments never stopped. If I cooked and the meal wasn't perfect, he'd criticize me, saying it was embarrassing that I hadn't learned by my age. Then he'd go silent. Days, sometimes a full week. No affection, no conversation. He believed silence was discipline, and questioning him was disrespect. There were good days, too. Days where we laughed, planned our future, talked about building a house. Those days kept me hopeful, but intimacy became complicated. I tried to communicate gently about connection, about closeness, but it always turned into an argument. He said the problem wasn't him. He said, I just needed to want intimacy more. I stopped pushing the topic. I buried my feelings under work, under routines, under silence. A few months into the marriage, I bought something small. Something we had actually talked about before, about trying new things together someday. I bought it as a surprise, but the timing was terrible. We were fighting constantly. I was scared of triggering another explosion, so I didn't say anything. Over time, it became something private, not a replacement, not a secret affair, just a way to cope with feeling disconnected. And honestly, I didn't think it mattered. Everything changed the day he went through my things. He found it. I tried to explain. I told him I loved him, that it wasn't about replacing him, that I was afraid to talk because every difficult conversation turned into punishment. He didn't hear any of that. To him, hiding something meant lying, and lying meant betrayal. He said I had broken his trust, that I had fallen from grace, that this was the same as being unfaithful. After that, the surveillance started. He checked my belongings, asked to unlock my phone, questioned me about small things, like losing one earring from a pair he gave me years ago. When I replaced it with a matching one because I liked them, he said that was another lie. Suddenly, I wasn't his wife. I was a suspect. We tried to move forward, talked again about building a house, pretended things were healing, but every small disagreement exploded. Then one night, he said something that broke me. He told me he didn't want children with me, that he had already told his family and friends. Later, he said he didn't want children at all, that he felt too old. And then he said the wound was permanent, that he would never trust me again. That separation was inevitable. Now we live in the same apartment like strangers. He barely speaks to me, puts pillows between us at night, avoids touching me, avoids looking at me, but he also refuses to leave. I keep asking myself the same question over and over. Did I really do something so unforgivable? Or did I stay too long in a marriage where fear replaced honesty? I've started to realize that trust doesn't die because of one object. It dies when communication is punished, when silence is used as control, when love comes with conditions. Maybe this wasn't about what he found. Maybe it was about power. And maybe walking away doesn't mean I failed. Maybe it means I finally chose myself. Some relationships don't end with screaming or cheating. They end quietly, when you realize you've been shrinking just to keep the peace.